the ground plane, I'll repeat that. Let's see. So we make a new layer, we call it ground plane. And then we're just going to type in, we can either type in plane or we can go to this menu over here. And I prefer surface from 2 points. So we're just going to drag out a surface underneath our building. Like so. And then if it's too small, you can scale it. Okay, so now we're going to set up our view. And I'm going to type in, or I'm going to, now that I have my, does everyone know where set view is? We go into the perspective tab or the viewport tab, pull down to set view, pull down to named views. Named views is right here, and then once we have our view we're oriented to the view we want to save, we're just going to hit save as, and then we're going to save it as view 1. Okay, and now we have that view saved. So if we want to maybe add another person to our scene, modify it in different ways, we can always go back and see our view 1. Okay, looks like this person's inside the building a little bit. Okay, so let's go back to view 1, and there are several different ways that we can output this now. Okay, we can render it, which we'll be getting to later. We can export the line work, which is nice, a great way to that speaks to the drawings that we were just looking at. Part rendering, part drawing, or like really working with line weights to push and pull different information in and out of the drawing. We can start to talk about it in terms of its geometry and how it was created in Rhino. So that would be extracting the wireframe and really highlighting the ISO curves, the curves that are used to define these surfaces. In this instance, with a rectilinear more basic building, it wouldn't make sense to use that type of representational style because the ISO curves are simply defining planes. So if you look here, you see not these bright lines, but like this green line right here in ISO curves. So the plane is just a cross section like this. And those are the ISO curves to define it. So but if you have a more nuanced surface that is turning and changing, that would be better expressed with these curves that were used to build it. So we could extract wireframe, and then we also can export the line work into Illustrator, or we can extract just this image as a JPEG, TIFF, or Targa straight from Rhino. Okay, so first we are going to make 2D, which is extracting the line work and making a vector format that we can bring into Illustrator. So we're going to select all, Control A, select all, and then we're going to type in make 2D. Okay, and we're going to choose current view, and we'll just leave it at, I like to show hidden lines and maintain source layers. Let's do that to see what it gives us, but we'll also see what the results are without choosing those options. So once those are selected, we'll hit OK. And notice how in my layer menu now we have a bunch of new layers popping up because we wanted to maintain our source layers. And it will show new Make2D versions of all of those layers. What does that mean? So I'm going to zoom selected, ZS, make 2D. I'll repeat it. I just want to show you this. So this is our crazy building, okay? But the amazing thing about this is that this line work can then be overlaid on top of a rendering, or it could just be used as kind of a perspective drawing, okay? So we're getting kind of funny. Let me see what the results are if we are not choosing hidden line. So let's make 2D again. So previously, to answer your question, I chose show hidden lines and maintain source layers. I'm going to not show hidden lines and see what it is that I get, because I think that was making the drawing a little bit confusing. So this is the difference. So for some reason I'm getting kind of broken line work. I don't know why that is. Let's see. Maybe I'll try just doing this. So it depends on what it is you're selecting, and that will if you don't have something selected, you won't be making 2D of it in your view. Current view, okay. Okay, so that gave me a little bit of a cleaner geometry. I think it's the overlaps that are happening with the materials because it's a really quick and dirty model. But you can see the Make 2D version of just the shell of the building. Yes? Yeah. So whenever you're kind of exporting this line work from your 3D model or extracting the line work, it will end up at 0, 0, 0. So you don't want to be modeling at 0, 0, 0. And you always know where the origin is because that's the center of this grid right here. Okay? The way that I do it is I type zoom selected, ZS, or you can just navigate to the origin, or 0, 0, 0, because it's always selected. Oh, interesting. So I'm getting better line work when I wasn't selecting all. So there must be something in the field that's kind of confusing Rhino in the Make 2D command. So select all maybe isn't the best thing to do right before you're making 2D. You should just select what it is you want to make 2D of, and you'll get better results. So you can see I'm getting much better line work the second time around. Okay? And then all of this line work you can take I'm going to set it to the top view. And I am going to export selected. Export. Oh, might just be under File. Export selected under the File menu. And I'm going to export it as an AI drawing. Okay? And you can take a snapshot of the current view or preserve model scale. I would choose to preserve model scale, and you can, right now the default is that it's at full scale, so 1 inch equals 1 inch. I would suggest that 1 inch equals, well, it's kind of hard. 1 inch equals 0.1 inch. Yeah, I saved it, I exported it as a AI document, Adobe Illustrator document. Elliot, chime in if there's anything you want to add. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 0.001. Yeah. Yeah. Or you could take a snapshot. The other kind of like uh, quick and dirty way of scaling is just drawing a little line in your document that's a foot long, and then you can scale it in Illustrator. Not the best method, but sometimes Illustrator has trouble understanding Rhino's scale regardless. So, but yeah, good point, Elliot. Questions so far? Do you all have Illustrator installed on your machines? Yes. Uh-huh. Okay. Are you running boot camp? You're just gonna have to turn it off and turn it back on. Yeah, but no. Yeah, it will. Do you guys run Speed on your Mac side or on the Windows side? Both. Yeah. Yeah. See how long you last. Great. Okay, so I am going to, so I've exported these, and the amazing thing about saving these views is that it's the exact same view as, let's say if we were going to export it now as an image file. We can type in print in this saved view. And here pops up a dialog box with a bunch of different options for printing the file. So we can, and note that it's printing right now the ghosted view because that's what I'm in Rhino. So if I pull down here to X-ray view and then I press print, it's going to print the X-ray view. Okay, not awesome. I would say ghosted or shaded is best. Oh. Ghosted view, print, and then here you have options to print to a printer or to PDF or an image file. You have options to alter your DPI. What's DPI? What was that? Yes. Oh, it's right here. Dots per inch. So 200 is pretty good for printing. If you're just exporting it to the web, 72. We touched on this yesterday. So you can also choose to print color, display color. So notice how print color and display color are different. Because sometimes objects aren't displaying as their layers. They aren't displaying the color that their layers are specifying. Or we can print in black and white grayscale. Okay? And in our case, we want to print viewport, but we also could print window. And window is just kind of dragging out a window. If you want to specify a different view, but that doesn't really make sense with the work that we've done setting up view 1. So we'll redo that. Oh, and we'll choose viewport. Okay. And then you can also, if you choose window, you can set the scale. So let's do that again. Enter. Extents. Wait, let's see. How do I get that? Huh. Huh. I don't know why scale is. Let's see here. Close. Yeah. Just for some reason. I'm not being allowed to scale this, but that's another option typically. You can scale your drawing. And then there are a variety of other options, but such as line types and line widths. But if you're not specifying your lines or you don't have much line work in your drawing, it doesn't make as much sense to export or to change those. So then we can print this. I'll put this on the desktop also. And it will be, because it's the saved view, it's the exact, we can overlay our line work that we created with Make2D on top of this printed image. Questions so far? Okay, so that's exporting in a nutshell. The other things I want to show you besides Make2D and printing before we get to rendering is our section tools. Okay, so there are many different ways that you can section your drawing. Guess what the first way is? Sectioning your drawing. Yes. Who said that? Awesome. Believe it or not, you type in section. Select, so then you go to the command line. When in doubt, read the command line, select objects for sections, select your objects, enter, and then you can just take sections. Okay? There's one section. Let's take another section. Okay? Enter. And then we can move them out of the way, and we have these two sections of our building. Does everyone see that? Elliot, do you have anything to add to this? I usually don't use section, I use section tools, but do you have anything to add to that? Section is part of Rhino. Contour. Oh, okay. Let's see what contour is. Select objects for contour. Mm-hmm. And then it takes them perpendicular. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is similar to section tools, but section tools is a little bit more automated. So contour is for serial sections. Yeah. hmm And we'll get into the workflow at, beyond just the taking sections or contours and exporting it to the laser cutter next week. We're gonna get into it in just a second. Okay, yeah, so let's demonstrate that contour. Select objects for contour. Enter. So we'll do. Okay, so planar sections. You see there. Also very useful, maybe for making a topographic surface. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, maybe we make a new layer and we name it section line. And we put our section line, can make 2 section lines. And we can just lock it. Lock that layer and use it as a datum, a reference for all the sections that we're taking. So that's a good, or maybe rather than locking it in the layer menu, I'll lock it here so that I can still snap to it. So that's a good segue. Before I get into section tools, let's look at the clipping plane. Okay. So clipping plane is how you would make kind of like section perspectives. Okay. So I'm gonna take a section perspective that will work with the view that I've made. Okay, there we go. Go back to my view. Oops. Huh. Let's try this again. Clipping plane. Vertical. There we go. So you need to select the item that you're clipping before you clip it, before you create your clipping plane. And you can see as I move this clipping plane, it's clipping the building and the ground plane. And then we can look inside our building and see the cutaway section. Okay? And then with that information, same on the back side here. Or is it only, it might only be happening in the view that I made it in. Let's see. Huh. What was that? Sorry, I can't. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, here we go. Vertically. There we go. Okay, so view 1, you can pull down within view 1 and choose clipping plane. Okay. So if I go to view 1, clipping plane. Huh. The clipping plane? Let's see. I've never done a non-vertical clipping plane. What was that? Yeah, there we go. Clipping plane is a great tool. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So I can do a test render right now. Oh, or not. I've rendered it in the past. It's strange. Let's see if it shows up outside of V-Ray. Yeah. Okay, so for some reason it's not showing up in V-Ray, but it is showing up in Rhino Render. So we'll take a look at that and try to figure that out for the next, maybe for the rendering tutorial. Yeah, it's not showing up. Okay, so those are clipping planes. Questions about that? A little finicky in the end. Yes. Yeah. So do you want me to just review how to make it? Review how to make the clipping plane? A section view? But it's not doing anything? Okay, yeah, let's try it again. Okay, so clipping plane. Let's choose vertical. So we're just making our clipping plane like so. And it's clipping away. Note that it's clipping away. Oh, okay. How do you turn it on? Oh, great. Okay. Yes, great. Gumball is great. Okay, so you can see here. So it's just, were you having trouble drawing the plane, or it just wasn't clipping? Is it working now? Great. Okay, other questions? Okay, so we've done clipping plane, section, contour, make 2D, print. Now let's look at section tools. Okay, so section tools is a pretty powerful tool. You can create single sections. So notice how Section Tools is a plugin that just pops right up in your toolbar, which is pretty awesome. Paneling Tools is another great kind of more developed plugin that pops right up in your toolbar. But to create a section similar to creating a section in Rhino or One Contour, you select the object to section, enter, and then you can choose the axis that you're going to create the section on. The y-axis, which will be in this direction, or the x-axis. Unfortunately, you can't move in the z direction. It's only x or y. And you can choose how it is you're going to name your sections, how many sections you're going to take, the scale of the arrows, because there's a little leader that kind of defines the section. So once we have our object selected that we want a section, we'll press enter, and then we are just going to choose where it is that we take the section. Okay? We can place one section, we can place multiple sections. Press enter, and then our sections are going to show up in our layer menu, similar to Make 2D. Okay? And then these sections we can take from our layer menu, and we can lay them out in 2D. We can either lay them out manually with 2D layout, select sections, select them here, enter, section, section, section. Check those out. There are beautiful building sections. The other way that we can lay out our sections, we can take serial sections similar to Contour. So that would be Create Array. So if we go back in to Section Tools and we choose, rather than Create Array, we can select that from the menu and then select the objects that we want to section, enter, and then similar to Contour, we can choose the distance, the number of sections, or the spacing between them. So for the spacing between them, I'm going to choose 3 feet. Number of sections, I'll choose 9. That seems good. And then you can take your sections. I mean, there are a number of other options that you can select, both sides, for instance. You can take sections from both sides. Labels, you can show them or not show them. I like to have them. I think it's nice for labeling later for fabrication purposes. So now, amazingly, they all show up in your layer menu. They're all selected right now, so you can just go straight into 2D layout is what we did earlier. Now we're going to try 2D nest layout. Okay. Enter. Pick a base point. So that just laid the sections out in a way that they're as close to one another as possible without overlapping. And because we have this ground plane in there, they're actually quite far from one another, but if they were just the building, it would be in a nested pattern that would allow you to lay out a material and cut really efficiently on the laser cutter or CNC router. So it's a really great fabrication capabilities with Section Tool. Okay. Any questions about that? That was a lot of information. Yeah. Vertical nesting. That's a good question. Let me see. Let's try that again. Section tools, nest 2D layouts, select sections, enter. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Oh, arrange vertical. Oh, I think that's vertical meaning Y, but let's see. Oh, and then you can choose your spacing value. So right now it's 1 inch. Yeah, looks like it's just in the Y direction. But notice how they're much closer together. They're actually only 1 inch apart here. So, but that helps. That really speeds up the process for fabrication and layout. Rather than having to take your section, rotate it 3D, place it, it's all just laid out flat for you and labeled. Let's see if there's anything. Let's check it out. So section tools. Oh, create. Solid mode. Hatch. Let's try. We'll put section there. And then let's take those. Okay. So that creates a hatch for all of the areas that you're cutting through, which is also a really nice feature. Section tools. Get into it. Yeah, I have used Smash. Smash, Unroll, Set Point is a great one too. Should we try Smash? Let's see. Go back to view 1. I haven't actually used it in some time. Smash. Yeah. 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 And that's the same with Unroll, which kind of, I think Unroll might be a little bit more precise than Smash, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Yeah, so you can see that Smash just pieced out all of the different surfaces that created that floor plate. Let's try unrolling, see what that. So unroll, similar in this instance. Then unroll you for Smash. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like, yeah. I wonder, I always understood Smash as changing the geometry somehow, but maybe it doesn't. Yeah, because it looks very similar to Unroll. Yeah, yeah, or heard of it. It's an awesome Japanese toy making prototyping software that basically unrolls everything and gives it tabs. I have it installed on my machine, but maybe that's for another day. Yeah. Um, but there's so many different workflows and plugins and kind of third-party softwares that you can use to achieve these different results. So um, be be agnostic. I mean, go for go for it. I mean, learn everything, and it will serve you. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Questions? Any section tool process that needs repeating? Lunch? Yeah. You guys are looking kind of zombies out there. Okay, great. We'll continue in the afternoon with Sam's tutorial on Illustrator. So he's going to take line work from Rhino and treat it in Illustrator so it becomes more of a presentation document.